Zoey 101 has had some pretty bizarre moments, aside from all the actor changes, seasonal shifts they have. Like, this show just does not stop changing. It's like me with my clothes every day. I wanted to highlight two, bizarre episodes that I came across recently, and it was bizarre because I had no recollection of them. It's funny to see the topics in this video come up, because in our society, we deal with this stuff all the time now, and just to see it slowly integrated into our teen TV, it really shows how our perspectives were developed when we had these opinions. Zoey 101 has always been interesting, especially the way it delves into the almost college-esque life of teenagers, living vicariously through Zoey, Chase, and Nicole. I mean, one, I would be concerned, and two, they're just that impactful. So this first one came as a shock to me because it has our very favorite Jennette McCurdy, but that's not all that happens. The plotline for this episode is insane. Let's hop into it. Okay, so we got season 2, episode 4 of Zoey 101 is Bad Girl. So they're in science class, and actually this episode's interesting because Jennette McCurdy is in this. Sam from iCarly. And something even weirder is she's not really that different from her character in iCarly. I feel like this character is kind of like a prequel to how Sam would inevitably be in iCarly. So apparently she got detention 18 times. Okay, I don't know why this girl's so troubled, or why Jennette McCurdy can only play troubled kids. So Jennette McCurdy plays a girl named Trisha, and the teacher actually asks Dustin to work with Trisha because apparently she can't work with the other students. The teacher mentions that Dustin's the best student, and I forgot that even is a thing. I don't look at this kid and I'm like, that kid is the smartest student in the class. I don't know why that has to be a part of his personality. This character seems more irresponsible and threatening to Dustin, as opposed to Sam, who later becomes more intimidating and aggressive. She hits on Dustin and is actually kind of huge compared to him. Look at this. She is tell me this doesn't look like an 8th grader and a 5th grader. Look how long, she looks like she is his camp counselor, and she has a crush on him. Isn't that so gross? Oh my god, she put her social security on his arm. I'm not sure if you guys were like this when you were in 5th grade, but I didn't hang out with my other 6th grade friends and talk about this girl using marker on my arm. I don't see why this is a flex to them. I don't think Dustin immediately realizes it's a good thing, and then they actually hype him up about it. Dustin doesn't want to talk about it, but his best friends actually blab that he's about to go on a date, and Zoey is super awkward and protective of him, which I don't see how he's in any danger right now. They say that Trish is a troublemaker, and this feels like a parent-child plot where it's the dad is oh, do not go out with that boy, but it's Zoey and Dustin. I never saw a lot of TV shows that pointed out age as a part of the plot, and they actually talk about it in this episode a lot. They say they don't want Dustin going out with an older woman, and it is kind of interesting to think about this, especially where the older person being a girl. I feel like in reality it's usually the guy. In this, it's oh, Dustin has an older girlfriend. It's kind of interesting. It makes it unique. I haven't seen a lot of Dan Schneider shows actually delve into the topic of dating at different ages. But when you're in middle and high school, it actually does matter. It plays a part in the social rules, I guess. I personally don't see anything wrong with kids socializing with each other. You could call each other boyfriends, girlfriends. We all know that at this age, you're just getting used to being around people. I don't see why it would be an issue of them dating. That's the thing is we don't care about taxes, we don't care about jobs. We're 16. The only thing we have control of is who we date. So that's why it was kind of a power move back then to date people. And that's probably why Dustin has such weird issues with Zoey having a problem with it. Just let him date somebody. It's not weird. So Zoey actually asks Chase to have a man-to-man talk with him, suggesting that he doesn't hang out with older women. And if I were this kid and a millennial talked to me about dating an older woman, I definitely would be more inclined to. I do not need feedback from the upper age group that I am dating the wrong person. And even Chase doesn't seem to be believing this. He clearly was asked by Zoey to do it. And this poor guy, he has such a crush on Zoey, he'll do anything she asks. The brother-sister dynamic between Zoey and Dustin in this episode definitely remind me of Spencer and Carly from iCarly. Maybe because the writers that's how they expected siblings to be in terms of how close they are and how comfortable they are talking to each other. I feel like Zoey and Dustin are definitely a Spencer and Carly dynamic. So in the B plot, we don't have much going on, but Logan and Michael get sprayed by a skunk. And I guess that's just the premise of it, because it's them stinking the entire episode, trying different things to get the smell out. They even eat tomatoes?
You're supposed to bathe in tomato juice to get rid of the skunk smell, not drink it.
In this, Chase's conversation doesn't work with Dustin, so Zoey sends Chase to talk to Trisha, implying that, like, hey, you shouldn't be with such a younger guy, and she thinks that he's hitting on her, essentially. She's like, oh, so you think I should be with an older guy? And then kisses him, which is insane. Yeah, see, the age gap thing has different implications now, doesn't it? This show's actually really good at tackling gender. I feel like Drake and Josh and iCarly and Victorious, they're kind of blind to gender. It doesn't really play a role in the plots, but I do like that it influences these characters to do things. It's like very real world. So Trisha kisses Chase, which is a really weird crossover episode. So obviously Dustin decides it's time to duel Chase. He needs his girl back and he is going to fight for her right. And so he takes off his shirt for no reason, tries to fight him in public, and nothing really comes of it. He's just a small, scrawny little boy. So when Chase tells Zoey that this girl just kissed him, she basically is like, how could anybody like you? And so it's like he's crushing on her, and she's like, wait, no, there's no way she likes you. She's like, what would they like about you? It's just more sprinkles on the ice cream of their relationship that make it more romantic day by day. Poor Chase, the only way to get him out of this situation is like, Zoey, we're gonna have to pretend to date so that way this girl doesn't think I have a crush on her. And Zoey's like, oh god, that would be so gross. Imagine if I could date you. And he's like, yeah, I guess. That's essentially how the conversation goes for me, at least. The only way to get the smell off these boys is by Quinn spraying them with some weird kind of funk. It kind of reminds me of the lizard pee they make Drake do in the one episode when they think he has an issue, and it sprays this green substance. It looks exactly like the fog they use in the Curse of PCA special, where like fog is going at them. And so it basically, they spray all over their body to get rid of this stench. But meanwhile, Zoey and Chase have to act like they're dating in front of Jennette McCurdy. Sam. When she sees the couple, she doesn't believe them. She's like, you're not a couple unless you kiss. So obviously Chase is on board for this, and Zoey's very much like, yeah, I don't know, that's not happening. Chase even begs in his head to let it happen. He's so uncomfortable with initiating it himself, and yet really wants it. This is like the most passive character I've ever seen in my life. Like, he is just like, everybody else, tell me what to do, please. So Zoey goes for it, and he's obviously really excited, until Dustin actually comes in, fulfills his promise to beat up Chase, and actually does it. What does that mean? Suddenly Trisha doesn't even want to be with Chase because apparently he was beaten up by a younger kid, and gender and age give one last hurrah in this episode, and she doesn't even want to see Zoey and Chase kiss because apparently she doesn't want to be with him anymore anyway. So poor Chase doesn't get a kiss, doesn't get a girl even crushing on him, and that's just kind of how the episode ends. This is a very anti-Chase show, I feel like. This is what it's like growing up as a boy in the 2000s. You definitely were the punching bag for most other people. Girls who liked you, younger grades despised you. It's just, I don't know, just my experience. The fog that initially went on Quinn's skin apparently just disintegrates things. It doesn't actually take away the smell. And she realizes that she actually sprayed that all over Michael and Logan. So literally, Michael and Logan are streaking about the campus in nothing. Who let these teenagers wear nothing on set and run around the campus of Pepperdine University in real life? Like, look, so they have to hide in trash bags and run back to their dorm, and that's literally how the episode ends. I guess that's a happy ending for everybody, because these characters usually go through it anyway, so what's the issue? And yeah, so that's season 2, episode 4 of Zoey 101. Next, we have an episode that questions free speech in a way that I find, like, really funny and just worth reflecting on again. So check out this episode, Broadcast Views. For the next episode, we have number 6, Broadcast Views, otherwise known as the free speech episode. Like, literally, the episode title already outdates its episode. Like, Broadcast Views, like, just call them views. It's kind of about earlier social media before we had YouTube even, before iCarly. Like, imagine I got 20 broadcast views on my YouTube video as opposed to just regular views. Like, that already outdates it. You could tell that these episode premises of technology is mentally developing iCarly long before it came out, because the technology used in Zoey 101 specifically is a lot to talk about. Like, they have the Chase and Michael show in this episode, which essentially feels like iCarly. It's almost like this episode was a testing ground to see if that was even a relevant storyline to have on the show. Obviously, looking back, it definitely was. And it's so awkward because it's like, it must have been that time where they just thought anything you did on the internet was interesting. Like, Michael and Chase act like just fools in front of the webcam, and nowadays we actually have to have substance when we're watching videos of each other. It just feels like an unmatured iCarly. So Zoey and Logan are watching as they do their show live and actually get in an argument while they're doing it. It becomes a thing about gender again and starts to interrupt their live show. It's so funny, Zoey pretending to act on screen is so much more interesting than her actually acting on screen. I don't know how she's so bad at it. So they end up having their own segment, He Says, She Says, and it's essentially all about Logan and Zoey arguing different gender issues, which is a really interesting premise. I forget the argument they had that leads to the first argument. It's that a female can't be president. My gosh, this is such a weird argument to have. The entire school basically goes haywire after seeing Michael and Chase's episode that their show blows up. Obviously, they're super proud, and this actually has an effect on the entire PCA. Every girl and boy start to fight over who is better at what. The entire PCA goes crazy arguing over different gender rights, and the dean of the school is super not happy about it. Dean Rivers here is mad about the controversy with all the kids. Everybody just seems to be fighting. So Dean Rivers cancels their show, which Zoey claims is censorship, which is kind of true. It's interesting to think that since it's so well populated by younger kids that their entire politics are based off of this one man, Dean Rivers, like he essentially is God because he's the only adult and can cancel their show, which is interesting because you get to see the kids work together. And I always like episodes where they have to team up against the big guy. There's another scene where Zoey and Chase flirt on this random patch of grass, which I don't know why this is their central dating location. Apparently the show blows up so much that a TV producer asks Chase and Michael and Zoey and Logan to show up at their radio show, which is a cool opportunity. In the B-plot, which is slightly less interesting, Lola and Quinn are trying to get Nicole not to think about boys while she takes a test. The fact that Nicole's whole personality trait is that she's obsessed with boys is starting to not work out, especially considering the fact that she is a straight A student. Like, why is this now becoming a problem? She's always had boys in her class. So they teach her a technique to think of her grandfather every time she sees an attractive guy. Why would that not work? I guess it would. So during her test, she starts seeing the attractive guys as her grandfather, and it allows her to be able to pass her test, which is such a weird solution to this. Maybe Quinn and Lola should write a book on this technique because it clearly works. Later, Chase and Michael show up to the radio station, and they actually say that they only want to see Zoey and Logan, which, how could you not communicate that before these kids showed up? Like, these poor 17-year-old kids are like, actually, you're fired. They put them on national television to argue about a male versus female argument, and everybody at PCA is watching, and Zoey decides to lean into it and not actually argue back, so their show has no merit. Zoey ends up just agreeing with everything Logan says. Like, yeah, you're right, guys are better. And it's so funny because she has to keep up this persona that she's just like, I agree to everything Logan says. So there's no real argument or entertainment. So Zoey's agreeing with everything Logan says, purposely making the show terrible. Logan is such a jerk and is just so comfortable by putting women down, and it is so weird that they find it that entertaining. Logan actually pushes Zoey and says he wants to eat kittens, which is nuts because it's like, obviously, why would she agree to that? She ends up turning the show into a platform to trash Dean Rivers at PCA and kind of give credit back to Chase and Michael, which is really sweet, I guess. Because of this, the kids riot and start protesting the dean's office. He still stands by what he says until he is attacked with a piece of fruit and then automatically gives Michael and Chase their show back. The concept and idea of a webcast that's going completely haywire to a point where it becomes the Dean of Administration's problem is a really cool concept, and it definitely gives me more new girl attending an all-boys school, but they also have social political problems between each other that sometimes go so out of hand that it calls the dean to step in. And you know what's really interesting? For most of this episode, Zoey and Nicole have no scenes together. Literally, they're only in one small bit. It's not until the very, very end of the episode that Zoey and Nicole are finally in the same scene physically, and they don't even communicate. That's how you know this stuff going on was really toxic. So those were the episodes of Zoey 101 that just kind of slid under my radar, but really shocked me today. Like, these things shouldn't be as controversial as they are. It's just we're not used to seeing these topics brought up on mainstream media, which makes it even more disorienting to think that it's a teen show. Thank you guys so much for watching and jumping on this journey with me. I've been having a lot of fun going through these shows with you and can't wait to do some more. Until next time, everybody, this is Johnny2000 signing off.